Oh, he's gone. Hello out there. We're on the air. Arnie was just standing there. I started the show before I wanted to there because Arnie was right in the bottom there. Now he's hiding. You can just see his ear. Happy hump day, ladies and gents. Happy hump day. Where is everybody? Anybody here? Anybody out there? Are we on Zap Stream? Looks like we are. Anybody out there? Anybody out there? Okay, I believe we're live. Yes, we have one of our Bitcoin journeymen, Django78. Good morning, Bitcoiners. Good morning, everybody. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful time to be alive. We got lots to talk about, so I'm going to cut the shit this morning. Before we do, though, you might notice I'm wearing slightly different attire. Kind of like it, actually. I never used to wear green at all. And then I accidentally bought a green shirt after a couple too many beers at the Guinness factory in Ireland. And so I've liked green since then. But this is something special. This is a collaboration between King Golf and one of our sponsors of the show here, Juxtapose. So you can't see it yet, but I'll show it here. This is we got two shirts. This one's going to be a collection item, I guess you'd say. Just no limit on the amount of them. But the other one, the black version of this, has a nice big playing card on the back with a king of spades with Bitcoin on the front. Bitcoin is king. So this is the shirt. It's green. It says BTC is KNG. I love it. And you can see on the back, it's got a little crown. I don't know if you saw it or not, but they're awesome shirts. They're made in Honduras. Very comfortable, very good fit. And they're launching officially in 5 days from now. So I was talking with Eric yesterday, and we're going to do a launch, I think, on Noster, I believe, and YouTube. So the black one, we're only doing 21 of them. 21 will only be ever made. So I guess I just wanted to show it off because they're not for sale yet. But if you want one, I guess what I would say is if you want one, especially one of the collectors or the limited edition ones, just shoot me an email and I'll put you on the list. We're going to launch them. Hopefully they'll sell up pretty quick. But if you want to grab one, just shoot me an email. All the info, just like every day, is in the show notes if you want to get a hold of me. Okay, so with that, welcome to another episode of the Daily Bitcoin Journey. This show is actionable and logical discussion for Bitcoiners and for future Bitcoiners. I just realized I didn't tweet this to Noster or post it. I keep calling it Twitter. I keep calling everything tweets. I'm living in the past. Never mind the future with my terminology. I'm living in the past. Okay, so let's get this done. Let's get up the metrics for the day and let's get this thing rolling. While we're waiting, sorry, trying to do too many things at once here. We got LMH, we got JAD, Jagged 20. LMH, we got Johnny, we got Jason. LMH says, are you still on Twitter or just Noster? So for my Twitter account personally, I haven't been on there. I got my new phone mid-June, about a month ago now. I haven't put my Twitter account on this phone yet. So I think I'm completely done with Twitter with my personal account. However, I've actually been not active, but I've been on Twitter more actively than not for the Bitcoin Journey account, just posting things about Bitcoin, sharing things from friends of the show. It's still a really good medium, I think, for reach. I'm not verified on there. I don't ever intend to be. That's not my goal there. But I'm on there every morning looking at the Bitcoin news stuff. So I'll share stuff. I'll make some posts. But for my personal Twitter account, I haven't tweeted. I haven't even been on the account in over a month. And it's pretty good for my blood pressure. I'll tell you that for free. So we're currently block height 852.616. 6 sats per VByte if you're transacting on the Bitcoin Layer 1 network. 6 sats per VByte. Foundry got the last couple and pools in there. Not what we love to see, but it's the reality of today. Where we are, everything's always evolving in Bitcoin. That's one thing to keep in mind, that never get too worried about anything. It seems like Bitcoin is it was designed in a way to kind of self-regulate itself and self-correct itself when needed. I think it's because it's tied so closely to the market, which we've never had the pleasure of having that in our life before. We've never really had a free market with anything. The banks, the stock market, the bond market, the real estate market, it seems like everything has been kind of manipulated and rigged in a lot of ways against us. Whereas with Bitcoin, it kind of, like I said, self-regulates itself because it is such a free and open market for everybody. So it's not perfect, but it's the best we have by far. So that's the state of the network there. I've just remembered that I forgot to do the sats as well this morning. Sats for Moose Jaw time. Arnie really, we're going to blame Arnie for that one because he was just standing there looking ready to go. So I pressed play or record and we weren't quite ready yet. Let me update this 1128. All right. So like I said, we got block height 852.616. The fees are 6 sats per VByte. The price today is up once again. We're buzzing. We got $64,948 US. And 1 year ago today, you could have purchased a Bitcoin for $30,146 US. 4 years ago, this thing's been very irrelevant lately, but still true. If you're kind of new to the show, the reason this yes thing is here. Oh, we're not even on the right screen here. Sorry. The reason this yes thing is here in green is because one of our early theories and concepts on the show when we started the daily Bitcoin journey was that you should get some Bitcoin and you should hold on to it for at least 4 years, at least one Bitcoin cycle. And so this kind of just shows that 4 years ago, we have this theory, I guess, or not we, but in Bitcoin itself, if you hold on to your Bitcoin for at least 4 years, you're always going to come out ahead. And so that's what this is showing here. You could have got a Bitcoin for $9,197 US 4 years ago. And if you held on to it today, it would be about 6.5 times higher than it was. So that's why this yes thing is here. If this 4-year number is somehow higher than the current number, then we failed. Moscow time today. This is wrong as well. Let's get the accurate price here. We're going to go over to the time chain calendar for this one. So the Moscow time today, you can see it right here in the top right-hand corner, 1544 sats per US dollar. So if you have $1 bill, if you have $1 US, you can get 1,544 sats. We're getting pretty close to under 1,000 here in Canada anyways. So once we hit $100,000 here in Canada, that price is going to be, or the conversion there is going to be under 1,000 Moscow time. Okay, where are we here? We still got the Canadian one to do. So the price today in Canada, great number, 88,682 Canadian dollars for one Bitcoin. Pretty steep. Can you afford that? Can you afford to get one Bitcoin? 88,000 after tax dollars. The Moose Jaw time today, which is sponsored by our friends over at Bitcoin Well, $1 Canadian will get you 1,128 sats. The deal of a lifetime. So on that note, we're going to jump over quickly and do our Bitcoin Well contest, our daily Bitcoin giveaway. some people's favorite part of the show, not mine, because it's a pain in the ass to type in a password here live on the air and then do the CAPTCHA as well. What's this one? Bicycle. I don't know if you get, you can't see this. This is so stupid. Look at this. Select all the squares with motorcycles. Like, okay, just do the whole thing. Is there anything stupider than these CAPTCHAs? There we go. All right, get your phones ready. So what we do here every morning is we give away some Bitcoin, some sats on Bitcoin Well. It's kind of like their incentives, I guess, for using their exchange is you actually earn tosses into a wishing well. You earn coins. So every day we throw a coin into the wishing well, and you can win up to 1 million sats with these. So it's usually between 500 to a million. It's not usually. It is between 500 sats and 1 million sats. The average has definitely been 500 for this show so far, but we did get one that was over. But let's get this going. So get your phones ready. You're going to have to go to your Lightning wallet. You're going to click send. You're going to scan this code. The first person to scan this code is going to be today's winner of the sats. So here we go. Come on, big money, big money. There we go. 21 hundo. Who wants it? Who needs it? Make sure you get it up there. It's probably claimed by now. It's probably Parks again. The fastest thumbs on the planet. Parks. Okay, let's just make sure that this has been claimed, and then we'll move on with our day. Yes, somebody got it. Congrats to whoever won 2,100 sats. That doesn't sound like a big deal today, but it will be. It will be if you just give it enough time. Just like anything in Bitcoin. Okay, so once again, big shout out to Bitcoin Well, the sponsor of that segment. I love that. Giving some back to the community here every single day, courtesy of the Bitcoin Well and the Bitcoin Journey. So if you're in Canada or if you're in the US, strongly consider getting a Bitcoin Well account. Just go to bitcoinwell.com/Jor. You'll actually get 5 free tosses into the wishing well by signing up for an account and buying, I think, $100 worth of Bitcoin. So if you're somebody who DCAs, just grab an account with them. It's always good to have a couple on the go and see how you like it. Try them out. Get some 5 free tosses because free tosses into this thing is basically free Bitcoin. And I like that. A lot of the other exchanges have incentives for fiat, for cash, but I like the fact that Bitcoin Well pays out in Bitcoin for their rewards. All right, who took that one home? Who got it? I don't know if the Zap stream's even working today. It's not for me. So hopefully we don't have any. Oh, there we go. Everything just loaded right now. Everything just loaded up. Sorry, everybody on Zap.stream. I see RJ in there. I see Caymans. Letha. RJ says, Bitcoin is indeed repricing the world. I just pulled CPI data for the past 10 years and calculated the CPI in Bitcoin. Very volatile, but a negative trend. Soka. Silver Fox. Letha won. Oh, no. Letha thought she won. When I hit redeem, it didn't work. Got too excited. Well, it's a good example of never count your chickens before they hatch, Letha. So somebody won out there. We thought it was Letha, but it was not. Okay, let's get to some Bitcoin news here for this morning. The title of today's show is called Bitcoin is Repricing the World. And we're going to talk about 2 different aspects of that. Okay, I got to get rid of this time chain calendar because it is sucking data. It is. Okay. Just a big moan there from Arnie. He's got such a tough life. You might hear him exhaling a few times during the show just because his life's so hard. Oh, Arnie, what a guy. What an Arnie. Jason's wife got him. There we go. We got we're keeping them in the community here. It seems like the people who have won them the last 2 weeks have all been regular. Oh, I didn't send it either. Wow. We're hot this morning. We are hot. Okay, let me send this. Did you guys see the Michael Dell is tweeting about Bitcoin again? I had the tweet up here, but we don't really need to show it. But there was that clip we watched yesterday of Larry Fink, also known as Fairy Link around these circles. Fairy Link was on MSNBC. But anyways, the big story there to me is that Michael Dell shared it on Twitter and said, fascinating. So it seems to me like Michael Dell is really sending some strong signals out there that he's probably going to be investing in some Bitcoin in the near future. If he hasn't already. I'm assuming he has. A billionaire usually has some sort of intelligence there, and it wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense to talk about it in front of your very large audience, a very influential person talking about this. Talk about it and then buy some. That wouldn't make any sense. So it's pretty clear to me that Michael Dell has been buying Bitcoin. The question in here is, though, is Dell going to be holding Bitcoin? Is Dell going to go down the MicroStrategy strategy in terms of putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet of a public company? Is Dell public? They have to be. Or are they private? Does anybody in the chat know that? I don't know that for sure. So I don't really want to say for sure. Is Dell public? I guess we could look it up quickly, but hoping somebody in the chat will know. So here's the first piece of Bitcoin news this morning. This segment, as it is every day, is sponsored by our friends over at Bitcoin News. Make sure, if you haven't, check them out on Twitter, check them out on YouTube, subscribe to their channel on YouTube, and bookmark their website. Everything you need to know about Bitcoin, all the relevant information is on Bitcoin News. They're my number one go-to source for everything I talk about on the show. So shout out to Bitcoin News for sponsoring this segment. Look at this. This sponsor is called the most obvious news of the day. The Captain Obvious, sponsored by Expedia, news of the day. Oh, Jason says she's sending Arnie some sats. You hear that? He smiled. Arnie's wallet address. I should probably put this in the show notes as well if anybody wants to send Arnie some sats. But his wallet address is adopted son 98 at walletofsatoshi.com. Adopted spelled normally, son, S-O-N, like a daughter and son, 98 at Wallet of Satoshi. So thank you, Jason, in advance for a portion of today's winnings. Lox Guy says, am I going to die a virgin? Let's hope not. A pretty big part of life is sex. So I feel like if you're not taking part in that, it's hump day too. So I feel like we can talk about that. Speaking of that, happy hump day. I do wish everybody good luck today in getting a hump in on the sex note. But I don't think that, I think I said this last time as well, but if you got some Bitcoin, your chances of dying a virgin decrease significantly. Rock and Roll says, good feeling Michael Dell is Mr. 100. That's probably a fair prediction, because there's not too many people who can buy 100 Bitcoin a day. Michael Dell would be one of those people who can. China. The world's largest bank, ICBC, says Bitcoin solves gold's problem of divisibility and being inconvenient to carry. Wow. Thank you, China's the world's largest bank. Thank you for such a profound statement there in terms of Bitcoin. Bitcoin solves gold's problem of divisibility and being inconvenient to carry. This is news nowadays, I guess. If you're a Bitcoiner, if you've been hanging around here for a while, that's pretty, that's like the first step in understanding Bitcoin, the gold aspect of it, the divisibility and inconvenient to carry. And I guess if there's anybody who is new to Bitcoin, because we always have to keep in mind here that everybody's at a different part of their Bitcoin journey here. And so with the divisibility thing there, it might not be so obvious to people. Because the thing here that we need is a scarce asset. That's what we need. Because throughout history, we've always used, aside from the last 50 years, but the hardest money, the most difficult thing to find, which in the history has been gold. So if you want something that actually has value, that can store your energy and your wealth, gold was a good option for that. But the problem is, and I think a lot of gold bugs out there, it's fun to keep as a pet rock in your basement and you're safe. But if you actually wanted to go try to pay for something with gold in that kind of environment where people are exchanging gold, it would be very difficult. So that's the divisibility factor here, is that if you have an ounce of gold worth $2,000 and you want to go buy a beer or a meal, what are you going to do with that? You have to be able to divide it into whatever you need to pay for it with. So you can't just go there and shave off a part of your gold coin. And if you wanted to buy, or if you wanted to pay for a large amount of oil to another country, instead of having to ship it on a boat across the world, Bitcoin solves that as well in terms of being convenient to carry, convenient to send to anybody on earth with an internet connection. So shout out to China's bank. They're the largest bank in the world, for telling everybody kind of what we already know, but it's still good to see that it's being talked about within banks. But the funny thing about that is that, like we talked about yesterday, we're in a very weird spot right now where banks are coming out and embracing Bitcoin, supporting Bitcoin like that, giving reasons why Bitcoin is better than gold. And the ironic part about that is that gold's actually going to be the thing that, or Bitcoin, is going to be the thing that takes them down. So keep an eye out for China, though, because from what I understand, China is going to make Bitcoin legal there again. Apparently, the average person in China still can't buy a Bitcoin. They don't have access to it. But from what I've heard and what I understand, China is going to be in the market within this year. Don't hold me to that. That's just what I've heard. So think about that. Think about what that's going to do for the Bitcoin market and the demand for Bitcoin. Zane, look at this. Love this. BitX already up and running. Feels good to learn more about Bitcoin. Yeah, 100%. Get yourself a BitX. And if you want to grab one from the best BitXers, the cheapest BitXers out there, Solo Satoshi, they're making a lot of noise right now in the Bitcoin world. Every time I go into Twitter, somebody else is posting a picture or a video of them mining with their Solo Satoshi BitX. So Bitcoin Journey has its own store now. So you can actually go to that store. Within the show notes, it says BitX, I think. So go there. It's about $200. Grab yourself one. You're going to learn some about Bitcoin. You're going to earn some sats, and you're going to help decentralize the Bitcoin network. Okay, next piece of news here. This is a video. This is a really, really good video that I wanted to share this morning. And I had actually two videos, but we're only going to stick to one today because we got a lot of other stuff to talk about. So I watched this video this morning, and I was just, there's so many parts of this video that I loved. I learned a little bit. I found a new use case for Bitcoin mining. And so let's watch this. This is from Bitcoin News as well. it says farm in the Netherlands uses Bitcoin mining to keep stable temperatures inside the greenhouse. So they're actually using solar energy to, man, I'm struggling with words today. They're using solar energy to power these Bitcoin miners, which is saving them a ton of electricity costs, which a lot of businesses, especially over in the UK, in Europe, that's their biggest problem right now, is their very expensive electricity costs. So let's just watch this video. It's fascinating, as Michael Dell would say to me, but it's a 3-minute video. And like I said, I learned a few things, and maybe you will too. Maybe not. We'll see. Actually, let's get this off there. We got to redo this. All right, here we go.
So all the energy we use for the Bitcoin mining is with solar energy, and we save on the gas use. So, well, in essence, we think we are going to save a lot of gas by using this solution for heating our greenhouse.
Yeah, so Bitcoin miners, they produce a lot of heat. So you have a delta of approximately 20 degrees Celsius between the temperature that goes into the miner and that comes out of the miner. And that's because the processors in this computer are constantly trying to guess a random number, and that produces some heat. Yeah, so this operation is actually carbon negative, as is all the operations I basically build. So we reduce natural gas, and we use renewable electricity, which means it's better for the environment. So we're actually improving the environment instead of the other way around.
And some growers have decided, because of the increase in gas prices, to stop growing this year and see what happens next year. And in some cases, it led to bankruptcy. Yeah. The most important thing we get out of it is we save on natural gas. That's for us the most important reason to have Bitcoin miners in our greenhouse. And secondly, well, we earn Bitcoin by running them in the greenhouse.
We watched a lot of those videos on the show, but I think that one's up there for me in terms of just how badass that really is. That's, I don't know, a couple things there, I guess, to note. The first thing is that she was talking about the fact that because the electricity costs are so high in that area, that was in the Netherlands. But it's kind of, I think, the same throughout a lot of parts of Europe right now, where energy costs are just so high that it's killing a lot of small businesses. That they can't make enough revenue to offset the energy costs. And she said that there was some of their competitors who, because of this increase in electricity costs, actually had to power down. and see what happens next year. But if you understand where we're at in this fiat disaster right now, you have to understand that those prices are never going to come back down in fiat. And so waiting and seeing what happens isn't a very good strategy for a business in fiat. So I think that this is kind of like a microcosm of where we're going here with the world and with Bitcoin. And this is just a tulip farm as an example. But to me, what's going to happen here over this next decade is that the businesses who fail to embrace Bitcoin and to see it as the only option of getting through this transition, those businesses are going to fail. The only sorry, if you're watching this on audio or listening to this on audio, Arnie just sat up, made some commotion, and laid back down within the camera's view here. But whoever fails to embrace Bitcoin is going to fail. Whoever embraces Bitcoin and sees the opportunity, maybe not just in the electricity cost, but maybe in like storing their reserves or finding new customers, new Bitcoin customers, whatever that is, the businesses who embrace Bitcoin are going to be the ones who are around and are successful in this next phase in the world. So like I said, that's just a tulip farm with a very small imprint on the world. But I think that's a microcosm of what's going to happen here with banks, with any company, anything that you're selling, products, services. Unless you embrace Bitcoin and find a way to implement it into your business and make it work for you instead of fighting it and hoping it goes away, those are going to be the businesses that exceed. Jason says, I wonder if Nord Stream is having an effect on those gas prices. Probably. But at the same time, I think that that's just fiat. It's just fiat being fiat. And so it's going to go up forever. The price of everything is going to keep going up forever. There's just no way around it. And that's kind of what today's show is about as well, is that Bitcoin is repricing the world. And that's what we're going to talk about in the second part of the show today. I see the grinder is over there in the Zapdos stream. Good morning, Sovereigns, and zapped 121 sats. Thank you, my friend. The world's richest dog, Arnie. Yeah, he will be. He's not right now in fiat, but he will be. Okay, so that's the tulip farm. How cool is that? I think that's it for Bitcoin news today. The last thing I want to talk about before we move to the second part of the show here, and I didn't send this either. My goodness. I'll maybe just try to find it here. I forget where I even posted it. I'm trying to reorganize my notes and my links and everything into a more reliable fashion here. But okay, let me see if I can just open this up. Oh. I hit cut instead of copy. I hate when that happens. Okay. So there's two things that I kind of want to talk about here. We'll save one for the next part, but we'll bring this up right now. Sorry, I hate doing this live on the air, but unfortunately today it's just the way she goes. So this is a question from Marcus on X, and it wasn't a question for the show specifically, but I think it's a question worth talking about. So the question he posed on Twitter is that, do you think it's a good idea to sell Bitcoin for MicroStrategy? And so he said thoughts, and there's a lot of decent responses to that. Kind of my thoughts on that though, because I think that this is an important subject for a lot of people right now. There's a lot of people who have some money in the old system, whether that's through your pension, through your investment accounts, whatever that is. I'm sure a lot of people watching the show today still have quite a bit of money in that old system. And there's people who have a lot of money outside of the system, whether that's in cash or money they've already paid taxes on. sitting in like a savings account somewhere, whatever that is. I think that you have to take a look at this from two different angles here. Where is your money coming from that you're going to be converting into Bitcoin or MicroStrategy? Where's it coming from? Because if it's in the old system, I would definitely say that MicroStrategy is worth looking into. They just announced they're doing a stock split, which is going to decrease the price of their shares, which is going to make it more accessible to retail, to pretty much any investor. But I think that if you have money in that system, instead of paying the fees, the taxes, everything to get it out of that system, MicroStrategy is a very viable option, in my opinion. And I think that the way that Saylor's doing this, as in taking on debt, using those proceeds from the debt to buy Bitcoin, adding it to their balance sheet, they're getting a very good rate on their debt. And so there's a really good chance that MicroStrategy, in my opinion, is going to outperform Bitcoin. It has been for the last 4 years since they adopted the strategy. And I think looking forward for 4 years, a decade down the road, I think that MicroStrategy will keep outperforming Bitcoin just because of the economics there and how he's doing this. So I think that MicroStrategy will outperform Bitcoin in the next decade. But the problem there is that there's counterparty risk. So the main benefit to MicroStrategy is that you can use your money from the old system, and it's probably going to outperform Bitcoin. That's just my opinion. It's not a guarantee, but just the whole economics of what he's doing there makes sense that it's going to outperform Bitcoin. He's leveraging debt from the shitty system to obtain assets in the system that we're moving into. So just think about that very big picture. And I think that it's safe to say that it's going to outperform Bitcoin, but there is the counterparty risk there. That's the problem. So you're trusting MicroStrategy to hold your keys, essentially to hold your Bitcoin on your behalf. And you don't always want to do that. So I think if you have the choice, I would still lean towards owning Bitcoin, holding it in self-custody. It's yours. Even though it might not perform as well as MicroStrategy, there's nothing that could happen on earth if you do it properly that can take away your Bitcoin, that gives any risk of you losing your Bitcoin. Whereas on an exchange held by somebody else, there's more risk there. So I think you have to factor in where your money's coming from and how much risk how much risk you're comfortable with. So I would say, honestly, it's a good idea to have a bit of both. I don't think I shouldn't say that. If you have the ability to take all your money out of the old system without paying many fees and taxes and hold Bitcoin yourself, self-custody, that's obviously the best option here. But if you're stuck, if you still have some money in the old system, I'd say the MicroStrategy is a very, very good idea there. And I agree with the grinder. He says one doesn't simply sell their Bitcoin for stocks. So the question, I guess, was trading Bitcoin for MicroStrategy, and I don't think that that's a good idea. I don't. If you've gotten it to the point where it's sitting in your cold storage, your wallet, then leave it there for a very long time. Don't trade it. Don't go back into the system. I see my path to fire over in zap.stream. Good morning, and thank you for the zap. Plunger is also over there as well. So that's the first part of the show. I've been changing the structure of the show. I've actually been very much enjoying it. I would say that I've failed at it in a way because the point of it is that I wanted to keep these shows on YouTube short, like 30, 45 minutes max. And the last couple, I think they've ran close to an hour. So I haven't been doing a great job of it, but I do like the fact that we're moving people over to zap.stream. There's people signing up for the Patreon, the Living in the Future tier. There's the new membership on YouTube, which shout out to the Bitcoin journeymen who have supported the channel through that route. $3 a month, I think it is, for the channel. You can just click the join button on YouTube. But the last thing I want to talk about here is, this is a good question because this is honestly the most important thing that I talk about on the show, which is Noster. And shout out to everybody who's watching this on Noster right now through either Amethyst or Nostrudel. But how to Noster? Very simple. Very simple. Get your phone, go to the App Store, whichever one you use. If you use the iOS Apple Store, then download Damus or download Primal. If you use Android, download Amethyst or download NoStrudel or download Primal. But all you're doing there is when you download the application, it's called a client in Noster terms, but it's an app in the App Store. So when you download the app, you just go to create a new account. They're going to hook you up with a public key and a private key. Think of that as like your username and password, except you can use that public key and private key to access any different client within the Noster protocol. So think of a world where you could actually take your login information from YouTube or Twitter and everything carries forward there. Your stream's the same, your feed's the same, your followers, your subscribers are all there, no matter which client you use. That's the beauty of Noster. So get yourself a public key, private key pair. Start there. Find me on Noster if you can. My username is Jor. I also have my Noster public key in the show notes here. So tag me in a post saying, I'm here, I'm on Noster from the Bitcoin journey from Jor, and I'll repost it and hopefully get your post out there a little bit to the community. And maybe if you're lucky, somebody will send you a couple sats for your troubles. All right. With that, Jason says, this topic came up at the meeting last night, preferring MicroStrategy over the ETF as a consensus play near term. Yes. Actually, I hate talking about my investments on here, but it is kind of an investment show. So I actually sold all of my Bitcoin ETF shares and bought MicroStrategy with them. Was it a good idea? I don't know. But to me, it is. I think that MicroStrategy is the only thing that has the ability to outperform Bitcoin in the next decade. But as I mentioned there, you are taking on risk. You're taking on a counterparty risk there of the stock exchange potentially going down, of MicroStrategy potentially getting hacked, getting subpoenaed, getting, some shit from the government, whatever that is. You're taking risk by somebody else holding your Bitcoin for you. Bitcoin Buddha, good morning. Oh, yes. And this is a great comment from the grinder over on Noster. It says, use hashtag introductions when posting for the first time on Noster. Yes, that's how people are going to find you because it's different. It doesn't have like an algorithm. It doesn't have a boost for anybody. It's just whoever is on your relays, whoever you're relayed with, that's the only people who will see your stuff. So unless you use something like the hashtag introductions, or you tag me or tag the grinder, whatever it is, but nobody's going to see your post. Anu says that event was the fakest thing since WWE. You're a Q-tard and a Trump-tard. Nice. Thanks for taking time out of your day to stop by and leave such a nice comment there. Thank you. All right. With that, see you later, YouTube. So if you want to continue this, we got, I'm going to talk about Bitcoin repricing the world. I've kind of like something that popped in my brain yesterday in terms of content stuff and how, if you're, regardless of what industry you're in, whatever you do for a living, I think that you're going to be online more. Your online presence is going to increase in the future, obviously, but a lot of people don't think that way. They still think of YouTube, somebody having a YouTube channel is like a big thing. I think that having a YouTube channel now is almost a necessity for getting ahead in this world and actually getting new clients and getting your name out there, talking about what you want to and what you want to add value to the world with. It's not what it was 10 years ago. I think that having a YouTube channel now is almost like your resume. You apply for jobs, you want to collaborate with people, grow your network. You're not sending fucking resumes around anymore. They're going to look at your name. They're going to Google you. If you have a YouTube channel, whatever you're talking about, they're going to watch that. So I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the future of content and, the alarm thing's going off. Shit. So anyways, that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to give kind of my thesis on it, how we can prepare ourselves for it. So if you're somebody who thinks you're going to be either working in Bitcoin or starting your own business in the future, then consider watching this, because I think that there's going to be some valuable tips in here for people. So to do that, you can either click in the show notes. It says Living in the Future. You can join the $3 or the $8 tier per month. The $8 includes access to the community. It includes the Bitcoin Journey 20 videos or 25 videos on the Bitcoin Journey course. Or you can just go the $3 route and just get the full version of every single show uninterrupted, no ads. And if neither of those two work for you, you can just head over to zap.stream and we'll see you there. So have a great hump day, everybody. I appreciate you being here. And we'll talk about the other question tomorrow. Actually, what is today? Wednesday. Tomorrow we might not have a show because the British Open's on, and I think we're going to do a live stream exclusively on zap.stream, watching the golf, talking about Bitcoin, because it starts very early. It's over in Scotland this year. So I think that's what we're going to do tomorrow. There might not be a show. So we're actually going to talk about this next question on the second part of the show. So if you're interested in joining us, you can either join the Living in the Future tier or the support tier on Patreon, or go to zap.stream. So have yourselves a great day, everybody. Thank you for the comment, except not to Anu Naki. Not to you. Everybody else, have yourself a great Wednesday. And we'll see you tomorrow, maybe on zap.stream for the British Open. I might have to go shut this off quickly. Okay. Anyways, bye-bye.